this big should you get paranoid.
Yeah.
Then it can
Okay,
eat you.
everybody ready?
I can
All
stretch
right, we'll get
out.
started because he's just printing anyway, so.
I'm gonna shut this guy
All right, so.
Yep.
Okay, we're gonna call the meeting to order. You all set? Great. We're gonna call the special town council meeting of Wednesday, June 20th to order. It is 8 p.m. and we are in the George Parent Community Room at the Town Hall. So we will now, I would say we'd say the Pledge of Allegiance, but we don't have a flag in here. Do we want to waive that tonight?
Well, there's a flag on that.
Oh,
there's a
there's a
flag
flag.
over there.
It's up to this council if we would like to attempt it or not.
I'm satisfied by previous.
Because we just had a meeting, so for those who were watching, we did just do the pledge out in the main room when we had our joint planning meeting.
Yep.
Okay, so then we will waive the, we just won't address that one. So we'll do a roll call, please.
Councilor Clare? Present. Councilor Carrasco? Councilor Clemens?
Present.
Councilor DePietro?
Present.
Oh, it's on the other side. Flip it upside down.
Present.
It's on the other
Councilor
side.
Morales?
Present.
Councilor Nash?
Present.
Councilor
Yeah, I'm like, why is this mine though? It's a long email chain.
6 present. 7 present.
So I was gonna say, no, that's what caught me was the number. I was gonna say, so 7 present, for the record, we did get an email last week from Councilor Carrasco that he wouldn't be able to attend the meeting between June 14th and June 26th. Okay. The first order of business, agenda item number 4, consider and accept the special town council meeting minutes of June 11th, 2018.
So moved.
Okay, those were given email to people. Does anybody have any questions or concerns? Very simple. All those in favor? Okay, it's unanimous, 7. Okay. We, at this point, I would like to have a motion to insert an agenda item that came as an emergency just today via email. There's a very serious sewer issue that has arisen, and we are going to be looking for some funding for that, and we can explain all that. But the motion that we would like to add in would be vote to approve a transfer of $75,000 from sewer capital reserve to sewer system capital to repair the leaking sewer main over Katy Brook at Kim Drive.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, so this is to insert this agenda item. All those in favor? Okay, so we will now call that agenda item number 5. And now we can, so the agenda item, as I just said, is vote to approve a transfer of $75,000 from sewer capital reserve to sewer system capital to repair the leaking sewer main over Katy Brook at Kim Drive. And again, this was brought to our attention a little bit last night, but mostly today it became a dire situation. So I will leave it up to...
Not good, you could do it.
So I did bring this up last night in the DPW subcommittee meeting to update you guys. On Monday, late afternoon, they found during an inspection of this crossing, it's a elevated crossing over Katy Brook. It comes from the Worcester Street side, comes over at Kim Drive, and then comes into Charlton Street. That there was a leak that had developed. They could see leaking, dripping, and they were very concerned, so they did some things to try to mitigate the leak, prevent it, stopping it as much, containing it with some open top drums so they could pump the leak out. But Paul called me and said he needed to do some investigation to figure out where the leak was, if they could see it. They have identified a small hole in the pipe that's obviously where the leak's coming from. They attempted to contact it and had a short liner company come out. The short liner company, they're about 5-foot long liners, said he couldn't do it. He would be concerned that because of the condition of the pipe, that they weren't able to do that. That option would have been around the $5,000 to $6,000 option. That's the cheapest option that we could do. He had In Situ Form come out, who is a manhole-to-manhole lining company. They looked at it. They came out again today to look at it. They have found a liner that they believe will be appropriate to use because it does get subjected to cold temperatures because it's a above ground pipe at this crossing. And they feel like they will be able to do that repair using a liner to liner type of situation. We do not have the quote on it. The estimate they gave us on Monday afternoon was $30,000 to $40,000. I don't know if that includes the bypass pipe pumping that will have to occur while they're installing it or not. So that's why we've gone with the $75,000 number, so that we know that we have enough money there to address any concerns or anything that comes up while we're doing this construction. The timing, from Paul's emails to me, it seems that it's gonna happen sometime next week, this repair, when they can get us in on the schedule. And it's still probably shorter than I could get any contractor out.
Right.
Especially since there's some concern that we don't know what the insulation around this pipe is right now. So that needs to take in further investigation before it's touched. But we don't need to disturb that if we do the manhole to manhole line.
Right.
Councilman?
Thank you, Madam Chair, through you. To Ms. Blakely, do you expect this to go over $75,000?
I don't expect it at this time to go over $75,000, based on the, Paul, you know, we have history of doing manhole to manhole type lining. And so they kind of have a good ballpark of where this cost is going. I was hoping that I would have the quote by tonight. They were kind of promising it to us this afternoon. I just checked my email. I don't have it yet, so I don't suspect it is, but we do have money in the budget if I have to. So if I have to come back, you guys will be the first ones to get the email saying this is what the budget is.
Well, that was the whole thing, just to try to make it
that's-
enough cushion so you don't have to.
That's what I think. I think we're good with the 75 for now.
Okay, thank you.
Councilor Steves?
I'm just curious, do you think that there's any risk that the leak could get wider?
Oh, yes, there's definitely a risk.
Yeah.
That's why we want to put the liner in and have it secured. Putting a liner in these types of pipe actually does, you know, for a pipe that has cracks in it, these liners actually work very, very well.
Okay.
I mean, it's a good technology that they have out there that they are using. It gives an extra stiffness to the pipe. It basically, you're putting a new pipe inside the old pipe. Yeah, it's definitely, it doesn't address things like sags and things like that, which we will have to address in the future, but for this section and solving the leaking issue, this is a good solution for now. We probably, if we had time, would have, you know, it wasn't leaking, we would rip the pipe out and replace it,
Right.
but for now, as it was described, this is a good interim measure.
Would the liner have any impact on the pipe's capacity?
No, they're very thin.
Yeah.
It actually probably will smooth out some of the roughness that's in it, so, because it's like putting plastic inside a rough pipe.
Okay.
Councilor Peter?
I'm just surprised that you're gonna be into next week. You can't, I mean, what's this money?
You
Can't get somebody to.
this liner
Not the repair, but the.
well,
Just take it out of commission.
they'll only do the bypass when they go to do the repair, because that has to be manned to be able to do the bypass. They'll only do that. They have it contained now that it's not spilling in. They're managing the containment of the.
So these are the same folks?
No, our guys are managing the containment of the leak. The bypass will be done by in situ form, where they're bypass pumping.
The same folks that
yeah.
are doing the repair?
Yes.
Okay, I misunderstood. I thought it was two different entities, okay.
No.
And you're confident that, we're not gonna start getting phone calls and
Nope.
you're gonna be able to keep it with your own people?
Right now, it's stable. It hasn't changed. They have been able to manage it. So,
Thank you.
I mean, anything could change, obviously, catastrophically, easily. But at that point, then we're calling in piping contractors and doing whatever we need to do it. But right now, it is stable. So this is an acceptable method of what we're doing right now. For even DEP, they're fine with it. So they know we're working on it.
Thank you.
Okay, any other councilors at this moment? Okay, Citizen Member Doyle?
Okay, I was just wondering, you said it's
For the record,
contained.
do you-
Oh, Maureen Doyle, Conservation Commission.
Okay, your address, sorry, it's a regular
Oh,
meeting.
771 Lebanon Hill Road. Sorry,
Just-
we're not at the podium, so
Right.
sorry.
It's okay,
I'm very specific to the site.
rules.
So you said it's contained, so nothing's dripping into?
No, they have, nothing's dripping in. They have
Okay.
literally barrels underneath where the leak was. They're
Okay.
catching it like with a pail, but it's a big pail.
Okay.
Anyone else?
How much is actually leaking?
It's less than half a gallon a minute. also, so it was leaking probably like a gallon a minute. Now they've kind of put tape and containment and, you know, MacGyvered it so that it doesn't leak as much, but yes.
No finger?
Yeah, the proverbial put the bubble gum on it and, yeah.
Councilor Manna.
Thank you, Madam Chair, through you to Ms. Blakely. So you said that it's contained, but it was leaking. Is there any hazmat issues that we have to worry about?
No.
Or anything?
No, they have to
EPA
report it to
nothing?
they report it as a sewer overflow, is
Okay.
how it gets reported. Anytime we have anything that leaks into any water body or overflows even onto the street or anything like that, it has to be reported as a sewer overflow.
Okay.
And the DEP manages it from there.
Okay, so we're not gonna get fined or?
No, we're not, no.
Okay.
We'd get fined if we didn't address it as quickly
Correct.
as
No,
possible and in
I get
in a
that.
responsible manner, but what we're doing, they're not gonna find
Okay,
us.
so, and I guess another question, so was this just happened, somebody came upon this, or was it?
Well, it's a line that we inspect because it's a line that we inspect for blockage anyways, because it's very flat. So it's on our troubleshooting list.
Mm-hmm.
So when they were out doing their troubleshooting, they found it.
How long do you expect it was leaking for?
I'm not sure. I would have to ask them. It didn't seem like it had been leaking for an extreme amount of time because we do check it. They check that line rather regularly, once a week or so, just because they know it's a troubled line.
Oh, okay, once a
Yeah.
week, so yeah, okay. Okay, very good, thank you.
Anybody else?
Just to clarify, this line is in the capital plan to be repaired or replaced anyway.
Correct. We've actually already council's already appropriated
Yes.
money to replace this line.
So, what's the time frame for that?
Well, it's just gotten a lot quicker.
Yeah, thanks, yeah.
All right, any other questions, comments? Again, this was something that we would not normally do. We would not, throw something like this out to the public without a need, and this was an emergency
Yes.
need, and yes.
I wanted to say one other thing. Last night we talked about different potential funding sources, including that appropriation.
Okay.
After talking to Karen a little bit more about it, although it's been approved, we don't have a loan for it now. If we were to start spending that money right now, we would either have to take whatever we spent out of free cash because we wouldn't be able to get the loan. So because we have money in capital reserve, which is one of the reasons we put it there, after Karen and I both kind of agreed that it's better to take it out of this year's capital reserve account so we don't have to have any penalty against the free cash or anything of that nature because we haven't borrowed the money.
Okay.
So since we have money in the in this capital reserve account, we have money in the sewer budget to address emergencies, basically. This is what it's there for. Or if some other capital item goes over budget or anything, that's why this money is there. We have it right now. We'll take it out of that. We'll be able to address it with this year's budget, as opposed to worrying about incurring costs associated with going out in that loan right now.
Right, that makes sense. And just one last question is, how much would this leave in the capital reserve account?
$25,000, because it's a $100,000 account.
I also want to recognize, I think, Councilor Steves, who made a comment on, on an email in terms of, can we just get this on agenda items? So that was good foresight to say, let's just get it done, and we just happened to be having a special meeting, so it worked out well. So we'd have to have another one. So, all right, we have a first and a second on this item, so let's do a roll call on this because it's taken out.
Does this require 2/3?
No.
Let's just see what happens.
Councilor Claire?
Yes.
Councilor Clemens?
Yes.
Councilor DePietro?
Yes?
Councilor Manna?
Yes,
Councilor Morales?
Yes.
Councilor Nash?
Yes.
Councilor Steves?
Yes.
7 yes.
So motion carries. All right, so go forth and fix the leak.
Go forth.
And,
Go forth. Conquer the leak.
Fix the leak.
Go forth,
Do you
young
want the
lady,
crap?
and conquer the leak.
we say a lot of things. All right, thank you very much.
Madam Chair,
I
before we
have her.
continue,
Thank you.
can someone turn the fan on? Would you guys mind?
Oh,
fan
leave
right
the
there.
door open.
Well,
there's a
see
fan
Nick
right
down there
there.
fanning herself and
Oh,
Yeah, well,
I'm really hot tonight.
excuse me, I'm 52 years old, I'm getting.
No, it's not. It's not about you.
I'm
dying.
God, I'm living
you
with
have to
that.
do it from a different. I just don't want it on like my technique.
Yes.
Thank
How about
you.
you go from, say that way, that corner? Okay, whichever.
Oh, I think it'll
Yeah,
really
it'll
be
push
such
it,
a-
yeah, that's
in-
fine. It'll push the cold air. Okay.
Be in my
Now that
body for one day.
we've coordinated that.
It'll never be
Yes.
cold.
It wasn't an agenda. All right, guys.
Is that
Okay.
better?
I'm
You
fine.
can keep
Yeah.
that, can you
That's
stop it from oscillating? No, whatever. Okay. Have my
There's
drive.
a button there, if you pull it up,
That's
it
okay.
stops.
It'll stay placed.
Okay,
Now just
you
like
need
do
to
it.
move it.
Yeah, turn it towards us though,
Yeah.
if you're gonna do that. Although it's only gonna hit a couple of
You're the
people.
engineer.
Oh, yeah, oh,
You better?
That's good.
That's
a
good.
little
It'll-
We all get
bit,
a
it'll
little-
be good.
Thank you,
It's all
Heather.
good.
Thank you, Heather. Thanks for coming in tonight and taking
Yep.
care of this too. I know this wasn't your day for that. Okay, agenda item number 5 is vote to enter into executive session to discuss strategy and conduct bargaining with non-union personnel, the town manager's contract pursuant to Mass General Law, Chapter 30A, Section 21A2, and return to open session.
So moved. Second.
Second.
Okay, and we need a roll call, please. Oh, wait, hang on. Yes, return to open session. No, I just wanted to, I read that
Yeah,
properly.
you did.
Counselor Clemens,
Yes.
Counselor DePietro,
Yes?
Counselor Manna,
Yes.
Counselor Morales,
Yes.
Counselor Nash,
Yes.
Counselor Steves,
Yes.
Counselor Claire,
Yes.
7 yes.
So we will now turn off the video and turn it back on when we come out to session. I said they'll cut it out. Whatever they do, they'll edit it. All right, okay, also. Okay, I'm just gonna call the meeting back to order here, open session. It is 10:14. Okay, we are coming back out. Agenda item number 6 is to vote on executive session motions. And we did have a motion in executive
did.
session.
I move not to renew the employment agreement with Town Manager Ron Santangelo under Section 13 of the contract approved June 22nd, 2015, and send him a formal letter indicating said decision, although hereby recognizing that its terms will govern our contractual relationship until August 10th, 2019, and to go forward with negotiating the new contract we have proposed.
So that is the motion on the table. Do we have a second?
Second.
Discussion. Now, for the record, we've had a lot of discussion, obviously, and I will afford everybody an opportunity to make a comment for this discussion again, for the public.
I will just simply state that this is afforded in his current contract. We obviously can't discuss the details of the contract that we have proposed, but we have proposed one that's common knowledge, and the negotiations will go forward. And this is simply a way of clarifying where we're going at this point.
Also? And next, Councilor Claire, you want to speak next?
Yeah, thank you, Madam Chair, through you. So I will reiterate what I've said. This is, at worst, an open meeting law violation, because the agenda item to even discuss a motion of any kind was added at 2:59 p.m. yesterday, not within the 48 hours. That's the worst case. At best, it is still an absolute, it is not a best practice, and it is not demonstrating transparent and open government. If you wanted to have the verbiage of non-renewing on a motion for this evening, less than 48 hours out, well, you shouldn't have done this, but the public should have had at least 48 hours worth of notice so that they could come and, at least understand and discuss what's going on. I know that there are probably, I don't know, as many people that came the first time that this was tried back last July, that probably would have come out and spoken on this. It is a contentious issue. It is something that has been controversial in this community, and it is an absolute poor perception of this council walking out to be doing this. And so I will be voting no, and those are the reasons why. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor. Councilor DePietro, do you want to go next? You had your hand up. I'm not sure if that was why.
Please, Madam Chair, I just wanted to reiterate my former opinion that this is essentially a new model of an old contract that's being proposed. We are doing nothing more than bringing some update language as to the research that especially a few of the members of this council have spent hours and hours doing to bring it up to what is an up-to-date and more viable contract for both the town, and I think in all respects an offer to our existing town manager as well. For it to be perceived as anything other than that, I don't know where Council O'Pear is going.
Please refrain from referring to other councilors.
I'm sorry?
Please refrain from referring to other councilors. Just stick with your commentary, please.
Excuse me, not Council O'Pear in particular, but anything relative to that argument.
Thank you.
If I could rephrase. Thank you.
Next, Donnelly, Council Manor.
Thank you, Madam Chair, through you. I just would like to state that I respect everybody's opinion. It doesn't necessarily mean that I agree with them. We all have our own opinions. I do not believe that we are violating any type of open meeting law. And this has been something that was afforded to us, and the town manager's, the contract, his current contract, that we brought up as a council last year, and it was misconceived by members of the council. Well, it was a misconception that, it was a misconception that we were trying to get rid of the town manager, and that was not the case at all. We were doing what the contract afforded us to do, and I fully support the motion that Councilor Steves made. Thank you.
Okay. Councilor Nash, do you want to say anything? Or Councilor Morales?
I'll take the opportunity. Thank you, Madam Chair, for you. I agree with Councilor O'Clair. Respectfully disagree with what Councilor Manna has stated, and I think that this is the wrong move to make should it be approved. I think it is bad process, bad procedure, and we need to be better going forward, and that's all I'm going to say. Thank you.
So I just would like to respond because of the allegation of open meeting law violation. It is very important always that when the chair has something that comes to their attention, if they don't get the amount of time that they need, that they have the right to post. So I'm going to say what I have already said in this public, and I can do that because emails are public. So when we went into this on June 11th and provided information for the manager, we're talking a contract. So when we did that, we set a date for the 20th. We received to negotiate, it's as is posted, negotiate town manager contract. And on Monday, we received an email, all of us received an email, where the town manager respectfully said that he was not going to come to the meeting and that he would wait for the next council to discuss this contract because he felt that a third of the council would be new and he would negotiate with them. Basically, the emails are public if somebody needs them. At that point, I was concerned, and I did speak with Councilor Steves, and I suggested that we go and meet with the manager, which we did on Tuesday. On Tuesday at 1 o'clock, met with the manager and strongly recommended that he come to this meeting and negotiate as we discussed on the 11th. And he reiterated basically what, as a matter of fact, his email back to us was that he didn't see we needed a meeting if it was to discuss anything about the contract, but we insisted on going anyway. We strongly encouraged him to come to this meeting, to which he said he wasn't going to. We said you can't be sure of what we said that, we can't be sure of what another council would offer. We felt that what we were doing was fair. What had been worked on for many hours by many councilors, protected the town in a lot of ways and was very generous. But I can't go into the details of the contract because it's not public at this time. So anyway, when he still said he wasn't going to come to the meeting, that is when I thought, well, we're still having this meeting because council needs to talk about things, but also I wasn't quite sure what would happen at that meeting. How would other councilors feel, perhaps the way some might feel that maybe something could come out of that. And because of that, I insisted that we repost the meeting to include return to open session as we are now in front of a camera. And I insisted on a camera before and after the meeting for transparency's sake. And I also insisted, when I was told that when you go in, well, if you have any motions that come out, you don't need to put it on, you just do them, like we have always done. Many, many times in executive session, we agree to something, we make a motion, and we come out and we vote in the public, and they've never had a chance to respond. And we go on our way, and they don't know what happened at the end of the meeting. In this case, I put specifically, number 6, vote on executive session motions. There were 2, well, I can't get into the other motions as to why we put that. There were other things, as we all know, on the agenda that could have come out tonight as well, but we postponed. I'll just put that out there. So here we are. The manager did decide to come, and I was glad of that. I really thought that perhaps we would get somewhere. Clearly, don't know where we're at, except that he continues to say he's not negotiating. We did receive an email this morning as well, saying he was not coming to the meeting, and he would not negotiate with his council. So again, tonight I say we went into this meeting not sure that he was even going to be here, because when we finished our planning board meeting, he left, and I really thought he was gone because the door was locked at the office, and then he came back. So I was glad to see him. Thought there was a change of heart. So while I'm not going to discuss what we discussed inside of executive session, we spent a lot of time on this item. That's all I will say. The contract has a codicil in it that says we have the right to put a time restraint. In conversations, personal conversations, before on the legal conversations, and I will say that not in executive session. Actually, we can disclose that. When Councilor Steves and I were with the attorney, and we were questioning the contract, because we were sent to do that before, we asked about the language in the contract with that renewal clause. And there was very big concern as to whether or not, does that just keep repeating itself? And we were instructed even then that this council could send a letter of non-renewal to stop that, so that you can just have an end to that at least. And we went in good faith to negotiations and worked a long time with this contract. So again, I will say to your comment, Councilor Leclerc, I did everything in my power as the chair to be transparent. When it was told he wasn't coming again, there was a potential for, we could decide anything in an executive session. I made sure it was reposted. I made sure it said revised on it. I made sure we were coming into open session in front of a television camera, as hard as that will be. And I made sure voting on executive session motions was even listed. The emails speak for themselves as to the proof of what I'm saying. And the conversation that Councilor Steves and I had was an open door conversation in the office. Whether anybody heard, I don't know. So I stand by the fact. Now, why are we doing this? Because we need to stop this. We need to stop this renewal situation so that that's not hanging over the next council's head and they don't have to rush. I fully expect the next councils to go into negotiations with this town manager. I hope they figure it out. That's their purview. But this council had the right to, in his 3rd year, offer a letter, which we intended to do last July, with the intent to negotiate. Because the current contract, which is public, does not have a mechanism to open contract negotiations. So we sent publicly an agenda item to not renew with the intent to negotiate. So that right now, we'd probably have another contract all set and done. But we don't. Because all year we waited. And this town has been open to the idea that the manager could be leaving, not leaving, staying. We're not really sure, we're in limbo. We tried to have negotiations. We gave time. And we now sit here. So I am just trying to protect the town as far as the contract goes. That's why I support Councilor Steves' motion. And it's, there really isn't much more to say about that, except that's my explanation. to open meeting law violation. And I will talk to the Attorney General, anybody else I need to talk to with the proof of how things got done. If it was posted at 3, I was in this office at 1. We worked on items in the office, and whatever time the secretary posted it, it got posted. They were very busy putting packets together and such. Whatever time it got posted, it was done with the intent for transparency, as is the camera tonight, the intent for transparency, regardless of what that means to us, because we understand what this can do and what we... But I certainly hope that the next council takes it upon them, the rest of you who are going to be staying, take it upon yourself to work and figure it out for you. You're the ones who are going to make that decision with what happens with this town manager. So that is all mine. Yeah, go ahead, Councilor Claire.
I'm going to be extremely quick because we're going to. Sorry. The town manager's contract, we still have until August 14th to do it. We even have another council meeting with this council that this could be added to an agenda for. I don't see the time restraints. I don't see the necessity of pushing it through this evening. That's my opinion, that this is not in the best interest of transparency. And, you know, I respect your comments, but, you know, if I was on the other side and I was in the public, I would be extremely upset that this was done, you know, mostly behind closed doors with just emotion coming out at the last minute. So that's all, and I'm done with that. Thank you.
Thank you for your opinion, and by all means, I don't agree with that it was backdoor or anything else. It was strictly what was decided in executive session, which is by all rights, motions in executive session are legal, and we're out here doing it all in public, just the way it needs to be done. And I think we beat this one up. So, you know, I will recognize you as long as we don't have the grandstanding we did before, if you could please.
No intention of grandstanding, I just want to make it clear. I appreciate the work that the town council did. I know they spent a number of weeks, I don't know if it was 3 or 4 weeks, on working on a potential contract. I do want to state for the record that I just received that contract last week.
June 11th.
June 11th, and it is a significantly different contract. I'm not going to get into the material of the contract, but it is significantly different. I notified town council that I believed very strongly it was going to take me some time to do this, and particularly I think, and my feeling is that there's going to be 3 new members of town council in a very short time, and they're going to have to decide if they want to work with me or not. And I feel very strongly that they should have some impact onto the contract and see if they want, in fact, would like me to be the town manager for the town for the next 3 years. I appreciate the work that this council has done, and I appreciate and I understand that it could just simply be given to the new council for them to decide how to move forward on it. So there's no wasted effort, I don't believe, right? I look forward to working with the new town council, and that obviously applies to the current members of the town council as well, to work with them to try to get a contract. It's not just fair to the town, but fair to both of us, so myself, my family, and to the town. So I'm hoping that we can move forward in a positive way in the next town council and get a contract that everybody agrees is positive, and we can frankly get back to the business of trying to improve the town in any possible way we can, which I think is really the goal of all of us. So with that, I thank you for the comments tonight, and we'll see what happens, and hopefully we come to a positive conclusion.
Couldn't agree more. All set? Anybody else want to comment? Seeing none, we'll do a roll call on this.
Councilor Claire?
No.
Councilor Clemens?
Yes.
Councilor DePietro?
Yes?
Councilor Manna?
Yes.
Councilor Morales?
Yes.
Councilor Nash?
No.
Councilor Steves?
Yes.
Motion to adjourn. Second.
Second.
Good night.